It's time we start this writing vlog. I've been putting it off long enough.
Hello everyone! My name is Jen, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello! I am a Canadian self-published author. Hello. Fantasy author, I should specify. I have written so far 2 cozy fantasy books. One of them you can see right here is called The Second Story, and the other one is right next to it. Well, I'll just grab them both then. The Second Story and A Little Luck. They're both my beautiful queer cozy fantasies. They're set in a little seaside town of Arrowmount, and thus has been birthed the Arrowmount Books series. I am currently working on book 3, and today we're starting the writing vlog that I have been kind of promising for the past like 3 weeks. I have decided to embark on a 20-day journey so that I have a finished draft of this book by the end of the month. So 20 days, because it is March 11th today. And by March 31st, which is 20 days exactly, I want a finished draft of Arrowmount Book 3. Just need to commit to something rather than letting myself push these deadlines more and more and more. Because this one started off with, oh, I'm gonna do like an extended NaNoWriMo. I'm gonna work on it in October and November of last year of 2023. And then I'll have a finished draft by the end of that. And then I'll let it rest and then come back to it in the new year and whatever. I barely even looked at it. In those 2 months. I pushed it to the end of December, letting myself believe that I was going to work on it in November and December when I hadn't even touched it in October. And then December rolled around and I was like, that's not happening. It's December, it's the holidays, I'm officially at my limit. No. January, we're gonna do NaNoWriMo. We're gonna do this. January came around. I did not pick up this book. And then I was like, okay, end of February. It did not happen because February was my Friends Make My TBR month. I had so much that I wanted to do. I didn't succeed on like 80% of the things that I wanted to do that month. I just need to commit to things and actually finish them. And now that it is March, every bone in my body is like, why don't we push it to April? But I refuse. I refuse to push this deadline again. She's a Virgo and she loves deadlines and lists and getting things done. So the fact that I have just been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing that deadline needs to stop. And without a little bit of self-imposed pressure, I cannot get anything done. So that's just the kind of person that I am. So I need to have a finished first draft by the end of March so that I can like leave it for a couple weeks and then come back with fresh eyes in April and start the second draft process. I'm sitting currently at 41,000 words roughly. Let me get the Scrivener file up. 41,359 words. And I've given myself originally a outline of 80,000 words to get this done. Will it be 80,000 words? No, it's gonna be way more because I haven't hit the midpoint yet, but apparently I have according to the word count, which is not right. I have not hit the midpoint yet. Okay, let me do the math because sometimes I don't trust the Scrivener calculator. I trust my own calculator brain. 100,000, one more zero, minus 41,000, we'll just round it up, is 59,000 words divided by 20 days. I have to write 2,900 words, 1,950 words every day for the next 20 days to hit that 100,000 word mark. That is just a general word count, an arbitrary word count, if you will. Originally picked 80,000 because I told myself the way that I was writing A Little Luck, which is my second cozy fantasy book, was bigger than A Second Story. I believe A Second Story ended up being 67,000 words, and I think A Little Luck ended up being like 84,000 words or something like that. Just because of the way that I was writing that one and what the end of all word count ended up being, I was like, okay, 80,000 is probably the best place to aim for this book. But now that I'm in it, no, this is gonna be bigger. So 100,000 words for the first draft. Hopefully that's about it. Because I am an overwriter. I'm a chronic overwriter. So, which I don't mind having because I can always cut words. I am not precious with my words. I'm not precious with my scenes. If I immediately know that something is wrong, I will just cut it from the draft when I'm editing things. So for the next 20 days, I'm gonna be doing a challenge on TikTok and also this vlog. When you see it, hello, if you're seeing this, I hope I did it. Did I do it, future self? Did I do it? Did I stick to my guns and stick to the March 31st deadline? I really fucking hope I did. But yes, okay, so we are sitting at 41,359 words. We are aiming for 100,000 words by March 31st. It is currently March 11th. I have to write about 2,900 words a day to stay on track and hopefully get that word count there. Whether or not that's going to be the final word count is to be seen, of course. I would rather in my head just work towards like the story beats But this story, there's a lot going on, and I have yet to really decide what the midpoint is going to be. I know I haven't hit it yet. So we're just gonna keep writing. And I think I originally had organized it as part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 5, which is what I have done for the previous 2 Cozy Fantasies. And I will have 5 parts in this Cozy Fantasy as well, once it's like finalized and whatever. And it's a good way to like conceptualize like where we need to be in the story in each part of the book, like for story arc wise, you know? It's a really good way to conceptualize it for myself. However, I think I'm just gonna let myself write until the end of this story without worrying about where it lands in what part. Even though I've kind of organized it, I'll show you. Organized it in like part 1, part 2, down here is part 3, part 4, and I don't really think I have anything written for part 3 or part 4 on this. No, I don't have anything written on the actual notes. I just have like a synopsis of the part that I want to do. So I know like generally what's coming in each part, kind of a thing. And then of course, part 5 down here. I have yet to actually fill out any of these little cue card things, but when I have the ideas, I will like write them in on the cue cards and stuff so that like I know what each scene does, because each cue card ends up being a scene, kind of a thing, right? So that's just how I've gone through it. So I'm about here, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let myself continue to write the story as it comes, and I'm gonna plan it as it goes, following sort of the rough like part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outline. But I'm not gonna like force myself to stick to it. I think I'm just gonna write the story all in one fell swoop, which is what I did with both A Second Story and A Little Luck. When I was writing their first, and with the case of A Little Luck, the 1.5 draft, when I was writing those drafts, I didn't split them into parts. I just wrote the draft, and I split every scene or every chapter in my head into a new cue card, which helps because these are dual POV. And so is the next one. So is the next one. They're both dual POV, so I like switch them according to the POVs as they come through. Anyways, that's the plan. That's the point of this vlog. We are here to write for 20 days straight. Let's fucking do this. Oh my god, hey girl. I'm so fucking tired. I have had a day. It is officially March 13th. Technically March 14th because it is. My clock is in the other room. Because it is 12:30ish, and I didn't do any writing today, but I'm here to give you a debrief on how day 1 and 2 went, and then also day 3, because my clock being in the other room is kind of a hint, but I'm gonna put you there. So day 1 was good, I think. I didn't hit my word count on day 1 because it was a Monday that I started this challenge on. And if you guys know me at all, Mondays, my longest day. I work 2 jobs. I got home after 9, and then I had to edit and upload my Tuesday like weekend vlogs that always go up. I didn't have a chance to give it a little edit before going to work. So I did it all when I got home. And then once that was done, it was like midnight. And because, you know, got home, ate dinner, edited the vlog, finished the vlog, edited the vlog, watched some TV as I was editing the vlog. And then I was like, I don't want to start this challenge on a nothing day. I have to try something. Suddenly it was 1 a.m. Because you guys ever have that experience where it's like in the wee hours of the midnight times? Like right now, it's 12:35 currently, and the hours just vanish. Like you look at your phone for 2 minutes and suddenly it's a half hour later, you know? It was one of those moments. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not even in bed yet. I need to be in bed. It's 1 a.m. And then I was like, what if I just write like just a little bit, just so that I don't start day 1 on a nothing day? And so I wrote for like 15 minutes, and then I wasn't done. My body was like, no, I have more to say. So I wrote, and I got 1,400 words down on day 1, which is great. I wrote for 40 minutes, and I went to bed right around 2 a.m. So not too terrible. Yesterday, another long day, because I, again, teach piano. And so when I got home from that job, I got home earlier, which is nice. But I did have a break today, yesterday. It's not today anymore. Yesterday, I had a break between kids because one of my students came earlier. She came in an earlier slot. So her regular slot was empty before my other kids came. So I had that 30 minutes to do writing. And I was like, great, I'm gonna take my computer with me and get some writing down. Did I do any writing? Yes. I couldn't focus. There's
a drum teacher or a drum lesson behind me when her lesson is usually going. So I had that ambiance and also the singing class across the hall. So I got 227 words down or something in that little bit of time. And then I was like, that's fine. I'll come home and I'll bang out the words. Then I made the terrible decision of putting on Critical Role's one shot for Daggerheart, because yesterday when I was at my desk, I got the notification that they were doing a live later in the day and that they had just uploaded their session 0 video VOD on YouTube, and I was like, well, I'm gonna watch that. I got so excited for the one shot, so I had to watch it. And then hours went by and I had written maybe 500 words. And then they did their like 15-minute break, and I was like, okay, I have 15 minutes. Let's hammer out some words. Barely got 300 words in this 15 minutes. And I was like, you know what, Jenny, you need to stop. You need to put your headphones in. You need to remove the distractions and write. So I did. And then I wrote an additional like 1,000 words in maybe 15 minutes. And suddenly I was cruising. And I hit the 2,900 word count, and I was like, I still have shit to say. I got more to say. I got 2 chapters done. I wrote 4,400 words yesterday. As soon as I eliminated the distractions, I couldn't stop. So we started on 1,400 words and then 4,400 words. So technically we're good and we're caught up for 2 days. We are pretty much on track. Today, it is Wednesday. I do not have any extra anything planned for today. Literally did not leave my place. And so I was like, great, I have so much time to do all of the productive things. I'm gonna do some audiobooking once work is over. So I started doing that. In the process of that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna look at actually editing this chapter. I'm gonna look at editing a chapter of mine just to see if I remember how to do it. Well, friends, that was 4 p.m. and it was 11:30 when I filmed my update TikTok for my writing challenge, this writing challenge. It was a non-writing day. Why? Because it was an audiobook day. I had to retrain myself on a lot of different things with audiobooks. And it's made me realize a few things. One, I was recording my audiobooks wrong. I had the wrong angle. I was too close. And a lot of my audiobook chapters that are recorded have a lot of pop sounds in them. So I had to come to terms with that. I'm starting to think, just because of that, and just because of this experience, I'm gonna have to re-record so many of the chapters. But I'm gonna do the thing where I'm gonna like go to edit a chapter and think about it, listen to it, and if it bothers me too much, I will re-record it on the spot and then edit it on the spot as well. I'll do it like that. So not only was I recording some chapters, because I recorded up to chapter 18 today. Woo, go me. I was also reteaching myself how to edit audiobook chapters, which was fun. It was a time. And suddenly it was like 11:30. And I was like, my brain is goo. I don't think I can write today. So today has been a non sequitur. It's a non-writing day. And you know what? That is totally fine. I'm fine with it. I got 4,400 words done yesterday. I feel like I'm on a pretty good track with my writing. I wish I could have got some writing done today, but I fully fried my brain with the audiobook stuff. I do not want to look at a screen anymore. I've been looking at a screen all day since 8 a.m. when I started my job. And then I just audiobooked it all the way through. And I've also realized in the last bit, I re-recorded chapter 4 because I was trying to edit it. I edited chapter 3 and then went into chapter 4, listened to a lot of chapter 4, realized that I made some weird sounds with my mouth and decided to just re-record it. And in the re-recording and subsequent editing process, and then listening back at the very end, I can hear how echoey my place is in it. I don't think other people will, but I think I can because of how aware I am of like little mouth sounds when I'm editing things. There's a little evil voice in the back of my head that's like, what if you have to re-record all 18 chapters that you've done in a brand new place? And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, to have that new place, you have to clean out your entire storage closet to have that closed off sound. And like in my heart of hearts, I know recording in here is gonna sound so much better, but I don't have the mental bandwidth to clear out a spot for me to set up my desktop and my laptop.
It is Editing Jenna from the future, and I can tell you that I did. This has like nothing to do with the actual writing vlog that this is going on, but I went on enough of a rampage about audiobooks in this vlog that I was like, I should probably tell you, I did end up cleaning out my storage room and made it my recording studio. And I'm going to have to re-record about 11 of those chapters that I recorded previously because I have 5 edited, because I edited chapter 5. 5 edited that are fine, and then I just re-recorded chapter 6. And I think chapter 12 and chapter 18 are okay. So everything else I have to re-record because of the way that I was facing my microphone. Anyways, I did end up cleaning out my entire storage room and making it my recording studio. Me from the future says, I did this. I got over myself and I did this.
It's fine. It's fine. I will figure it out. If a second story sounds like that, and it's just all cohesively sounds like that, I don't think I'm going to mind that much. I am an indie author. This is my first time recording an audiobook. I'm trying my hardest to make the sound good, you know? And I'm quite proud of the audiobook chapter that I did today. It sounded really good when it was edited. I could just tell a little bit that there was a little bit of, like, I could tell I recorded it in an open room. I made myself cereal. It's probably gonna be mushy, so I'm gonna eat it, but yeah, that's the update. On to tomorrow. Oh my gosh, golly friends, it is officially March 22nd. I had to think about that for a second. At the start of the trends, I thought I should know the date. But I wanted to pop in and do a writing update because it's been a hot second since I've talked to you. I talked to TikTok so much about this because I do like a daily update. I forget that I also need to talk to you guys. Let me open up the Scrivener document and tell y'all how things have gone. I don't remember the last time I talked to you. Past couple days have been interesting. Yesterday was a no writing day because I got gobsmacked by a headache, which I can feel one brewing, and I've felt one brewing all day today because I was doing a lot of like really intricate work at work. I was doing directory stuff, but I've taken like 2 Advils throughout the afternoon and evening periodically to like keep it at bay. So I'm okay, but I can feel it. It hopefully won't hit me again. But yeah, I got gobsmacked by one yesterday in the midst of editing Friday's video. So it completely wiped me out for the evening and I just didn't get anything done. But the day before that, I got like another 3,000 or something, and then before that was a nothing day because it was Monday, and then before that I got another 3,000. So I've just been killing the game when I do actually sit down and write. I've been hammering out the word count. So we are currently sitting at 66,355 words. There are 9 days left, including today. I have a snack of popcorn and assorted goldfish, the ones that are both the pretzels and the cheesy, because I like the variety, I guess. I've been getting these at the store every time I get snacks. What's been really interesting about my writing this past stretch is I was even talking to my therapist about it yesterday when I had therapy. She knows that I have done these writing challenges periodically and it like burns me out, which is, you know, valid. You guys even know, because the last time I did this, I told you guys to tell me to never do it again. But here I am. But as I've explained in this video, I needed it this time because I just needed that push, that addition of the accountability with these videos and on TikTok. And I just need this draft to be done, or at least reach a point where I can say, okay, like I know how this story is going to go from here on. I need to take a break and then come back and start again so that I can make this better, because right now I feel like this story is just floundering. I don't know what, there's no structure, which is so weird because I plotted this out. Like I have a structure to it. I have Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. I have the 5 parts divided in my Scrivener file. Have I been following that? Yes. I'm just kind of at this moment writing in part 2 until I finish all the cue cards that I have in part 2. And I have been doing that for a while. But here's the thing. I just keep adding scenes because my brain is like, but what if this happens before this? So it feels very spineless, boneless. And I know already that there are things that I'm going to fully need to reconstruct and redo story-wise. I can already tell because there's been a lot of moments where I've just been meandering in Mary's garden, and like that's great and that's fun and that's beautiful because it was fun for me. Will those scenes be in the actual book at the end? I don't know, because I need to make sure that I'm not just ambling through this story for no reason, because this story has a story to it. Like, there is stuff going on more than in A Second Story and A Little Luck. Like, there's more storyline, there's more plot going on. So I need to not make it boring, you know, but I still need to keep the coziness of it, of course. I was writing those, and then I kind of was like, oh, I should probably introduce this element, and I need to introduce that element as well. So I've introduced both the Gaston storyline with the Thistle storyline. This will make more sense when you actually read the book. It makes sense to me because I'm the one crafting it. It's introducing the quote-unquote antagonist, or the bad guy in this book. There isn't really necessarily a bad guy, but there is a one specific person who is fucking things up for people, specifically for my people, in this book, where there wasn't in A Second Story, right? Like, and in A Little Luck, there kind of was. There was like that I mean, I guess in A Second Story there was the king, but the king didn't do shit. He was just off in Praeland doing nothing, you know? But A Little Luck, there's the lingering across it all with the artifact storyline, right? So this one has Thistle, and Thistle is a little fae creature that appears at the beginning of the book to Mary, and Thistle fucks a lot of things up for Mary, kicking off another storyline, i.e. in the destruction of her greenhouse, right? There's also the question of what is Thistle and why is Thistle here? Because Mary doesn't know what kind of creature this is. Zanvi doesn't know. They've never seen anything like this before. And like, Mary doesn't know, which is more important because Mary is fae. So like, she's from the fae realm, so she should know what Thistle is if he was like a known creature, right? Thistle has just appeared. He's just this little guy who's full of feathers and he looks a little weird. And he is extremely destructive right when he comes in. But then after that, he's this really beautiful, kind, sweet, empathetic thing that is very aware of what he did. And so there's this moment of like, okay, so what is Thistle? So it kicks off the Thistle storyline. What is Thistle? It kicks off the greenhouse storyline. Oh my God, Thistle destroyed the greenhouse and thus destroyed a lot of Mary's stores that are very important to her and her rituals around Aramount for the magic in Aramount, of which one of these rituals was coming up. And because in this moment of destruction and birth and whatever, Thistle also absolutely ruins Mary too. He knocks her down and causes a flare-up of her chronic pain. She is unable to do a lot of the things that she needs to do in the week or so after that. So thus comes in Zanvi, the town guard. Zanvi witnesses this because he's on watch when this magical event happens, and he sees this like bright light in the forest by Mary's cottage. He runs off, finds her there, whatever. I'm using this moment to basically talk through what's going on in all the different storylines for myself as well. But anyway, so he comes in, he locks Thistle in the greenhouse because he's like, this little creature should not be around. I don't want it to run away because it just did something extremely terrible to this person that I don't really know, but like, she's knocked out, something's happening, right? So I need to put this thing somewhere where I can then deal with it later. Sound reasoning. Locks him in the greenhouse. When Mary seems to be okay, wakes up, they go to the greenhouse, find it decimated on the inside. What is this thing? What can it do? What is Thistle? Storyline. Greenhouse storyline. Zanvi feels so bad that he was the one who locked Thistle in the greenhouse. He promises to help rebuild the greenhouse and bring people, his friends or whatever, and they're gonna rebuild the greenhouse. So there's the rebuilding greenhouse storyline. And then there's also the fact that Zanvi can't get enough of Mary and he's so into her. And he's just loves this little pocket of calmness that she has. And then he starts getting basically taught by her about what she does. The magic in this world, what she does to help it along, specifically why she's there as a fae being. He gets taught about like herbs and stuff like that. So this storyline is like the learning storyline and also the romance. They're very closely tied. And then the Thistle storyline is also closely tied to them.
Alongside all of this, there is also the fact that Thistle is something they don't know what it is, right? Don't know what Thistle is. This brings in, there's also a scholar in town who is a fae scholar, because the event that Thistle did set off something magically, because, you know, everything has a reaction. And it basically called some scholars, specifically this one scholar Sarai, to Aramount to study what's going on and to figure out what happened. Because this event, whatever happened, caused ripples in the magic so strong that they assume that another doorway has opened to fae there. That's actually what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking that they assume. So there's also a scholar there. And that helps also with the what is Thistle storyline, because I'm going to bring the scholar into actually meeting Mary and stuff like that. So they're going to actually discuss, and the scholar knows a lot about fae and a lot about the fae worlds and realms and creatures and everything, because it's like the scholar's passion. Right? Scholar's there.
Thus, shit happens. Anyways, that's kind of what I've got planned for this book so far. Will I keep that all in this video? Who knows? I don't think, well, a lot of it is spoilery because I'm just telling you what this book is. Anyways, that basically was for me. And now it is 11:30. I need to write for the day. What I'm gonna write today, I don't know. There is a scene that I was partway through, which is gonna be when Zanvi's now coming to talk about Damien to Mary. And Mary's gonna be like, yeah, he saw Thistle. It's gonna be one of those things. And then it's gonna be the introduction to the scholar, even though I know I need it earlier. I'm just gonna write it now. So that's kind of what's happening. Yeah, it's March 22nd. We are 66,000 words into this. Do I know where I am in the story? Absolutely not. Do I know how much more of the story I have to go? No. I have a feeling it's not a lot though. It's gonna be a lot of work and writing, but like timeline wise and like story wise, I feel like we're getting into the kick of it. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna eat my popcorn. I'm gonna do some writing, but that's the update. It's so long of an update, oh my god. Hello, my beautiful friends. Happy March 27th, technically 28th, because it is past 2 in the morning. What's new? My attempt to fix my sleeping schedule last month and the beginning of this month has completely got out the window with this challenge because I have discovered that I am only productive for writing at like 11 o'clock at night, between the hours of 11 and like 2 a.m. Completely ruined my plan on like being in bed by 1 kind of a thing, because I'm writing until 1:30 sometimes and I just get into it and the hours just vanish. But hello, we have just a couple days left of this challenge and I need to fix my bed. I believe I have officially hit 89,000 words. Now, we started this draft at 41K, and I am now at 89,000 words, almost at 90,000 words. And today I wrote the culmination of whatever the conflicty bits at the end. I'm happy with it enough. Like, I know so much is gonna need to change. I can feel it every time I do something in this book, every time I write a new scene. I am just completely in my head. I'm like, okay, I know what I need as a scene. How's the best way to explain this? What's the best way to explain this? I know that the scenes that I'm writing are 20% of what I need to be doing. I'm writing a lot of just bullshit words at the moment, and I call them bullshit words, which is probably not the best term for them. Like, they're all words, they're all good words, they're all words that are leading to the end, right? They're leading to the end, they're creating the story. I'm telling myself the story. I can just feel how much of this draft I am going to need to rewrite and strip into pieces. And it's a really interesting feeling because I don't know whether it's because I have 2 hypotheses. Because with A Second Story, I didn't have this feeling at all. With A Second Story's first draft, I immediately sent it out to beta readers after finishing it, which I probably shouldn't have, but I was proud enough in the story and proud enough of the way that it had been written that I wanted to, and I wanted other people to read it at that point, which is very rare for the first draft. And then with a little luck, I barely got through the first draft. I didn't really. I got like 60,000 words in, stalled, tripped over myself, and restarted using a lot of the puzzle pieces that I had written in draft 1, and then ended up doing like a draft 1.5 is what I ended up calling it. The feelings that I was feeling writing draft 1 of A Little Luck was a lot of like the seeds of what I'm feeling now with this book. What I was feeling with that one, because it was also in a really, like, it was November, I was not having a good time, all that kind of stuff. But I didn't know it well enough. I didn't know it to the level that I knew A Second Story. For some reason, A Second Story was fully formed in my mind. Yeah, there was a lot of changes once I had written the first draft and went into second and third and fourth draft, right? But with A Little Luck, I didn't know those characters as well. Aurelius had been living in my head for years at that point, and I had played him in D&D and all this kind of stuff, so I knew the story that I wanted to tell with A Second Story really well, which is why I found it so easy to write that first draft. A Little Luck was a trash fire of a draft. Even after I had finished draft 1.5. It was a trash fire, and I was never going to let anybody look at it, because I needed to go back in and wrench it into place, take all the puzzle pieces apart and put them back together again properly. That is what I'm feeling with this book, because I know this draft is almost like a 0.5 draft. It's barely even a first draft at this point. It's fully a first draft. I've written over 85,000 words. It is a first draft. But in my head, it's more of a telling myself the story draft, which is what first drafts are to me anyways. So I don't know why I'm feeling so different about this book. My two theories are the fact that I've either, one, this is just my least well-formed story, that I've dove into the writing of it before I was fully as ready as I was when I was writing a second story. And I have just gotten each of the stories that have been living in my head for the Airmount books have just been progressively less well put together by the time I've written them for the first draft. So that's one of my theories. Or, and I like this theory a little better, that my brain, now that I've written 2 cozy fantasies, I kind of know what's going on and what I need to do at an earlier stage in my writing now. Because as I'm writing this book, I can already tell how much I'm gonna need to rip apart and pull and add to separate storylines and reorganize storylines and really make a lot of decisions on where things are gonna land. Because even though I did outline this book beforehand, pretty much, I had a general idea of where things were going to go, and then I had individual part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5 ideas. It's a 3-act structure vibe, I know how to write a book. I've studied story structure, so I know the structure of a book, So I think now that I've written 2 cozy fantasies and know how the stories have gone, I think I'm recognizing what I need to change earlier on in the draft. And I think this theory that I have is that I think the feelings that I was having with A Little Luck, they were the seeds of what I'm feeling now, because it's back then I didn't quite know, but now I know better. So I don't know. That was a long tangent to say. I am so happy that I am so close to being done this, because now I can make the story better. Because that's all my brain has been wanting to do this entire time, is just make the story better. But I know I can't do that without a story written. So I told myself the story. I've been telling myself the story. And what is magical about this draft is that I don't know what happens. I think I've cracked my own physical code when it comes to focus and writing. I mean, it's been there. It's been there for years. I've just never really honed in on that properly and taken advantage of that focus, because what I usually do when I'm doing things is I multitask. So I put something on the TV and then I start writing. I'll be half paying attention to what I'm writing and half paying attention to the TV, and then it'll take me hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to even fall into the story and even get 100 words out. And this time I have not allowed myself that extra distraction. Yes, something is always on my TV. I need that extra noise. That is just how I am. But instead of just having one earphone in with music going and trying to write with also half paying attention to the TV, I have completely shut off those other distractions. I have both earphones in my ears, loud enough that I cannot hear the TV. The TV's low enough that it's not going to bother me. It's just there as background vision stuff and noise at in some weird register that I can't actually hear. I put on music. I put on the Marian Zanvi playlist that I have. Usually I find a song, and it's usually a Hozier song. It just does something to my brain and it clicks me into gear, and I have to hit repeat on that song, and it just plays over and over and over again for an hour and a half, and then I get 3,000 words written. It just pours out of me. Are the words good? No, but that's what a first draft is. I'm not stuck. I'm not stalling on this draft. I'm fully just writing scenes, and the words are pouring out of me. And it's an interesting kind of magic that I've found when I've been writing this draft, and what I've really found over these past 17 days. I think I've really cracked the code on my focus, because as I said, the hours I am most productive when it comes to creativity is 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. roughly. Because of that, I have tried to capitalize on those times, and my brain kind of just doesn't want to work on creative stuff until those times roll around. And then even when I'm not in a writing mood, I put my music in both ears. I set up my situation. I put my Hozier on, whether that is Would That I, Wasteland Baby, or Be acoustic, or more recently Wildflowers and Barley, or Too Sweet. It's those songs that just kind of click my brain into gear and like kind of shut out everything else. And it's because it's on repeat, I don't need to think about the song anymore, and I'm only in the scene. So this writing challenge has been really lovely as well, because I think I was even talking to my therapist about this, and I think I mentioned in an earlier clip, I am exhausted, but that's because this time of year is exhausting and I'm really busy at work. And I think if I was doing this writing challenge as I have done previous writing challenges, where I'm writing for 4, 5, 6 hours a night, trying to find the words, trying to force them out of me, I would be so burnt out right now. I have only been writing for like anywhere between 40 minutes and an hour and a half to 2 hours every night. That's all I need, because that's what I can do. I can write upwards of 4,000 words in that short amount of time when I do those focus things. So I've kind of cracked a weird code in my brain. And my therapist was a little concerned when I told her I was doing this writing challenge, because she knows how burnt out I get on my writing challenges. And I was like, no, like this one is different. I can feel it's different on me because I'm not spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on this. It's only like 40 minutes to 2 hours a night, and that's it. And I need it. I need this drive, and I need the accountability that these videos have been doing and the daily updates on TikTok have been doing to keep me going, obviously, because that just lends a genuine like motivation to my project and my mood when I'm writing. The accountability is huge, and it's like everything that keeps me going. But I think finding this and unlocking this new level of my brain and the focus is kind of cool, and I'm glad that I found it, because I think from here on I'm gonna try and see how it works when I'm editing as well, and just like completely 100% focusing on it and not letting myself get distracted by other things, and only for a short amount of time. Like I'm not doing this for 4, 5, 6 hours. Like I'm only here for 40 minutes to 2 hours. Like that is it every night, with the occasional break. I have also had a number of break days. Why? Because I have at some point been absolutely sucker punched by a headache one night because I was staring at a screen for too long. Other days I knew, because like Mondays, my teaching days on Mondays are my longest day, because I get home after 9 p.m. and my brain is so not there to write. And I'm like, you know what, that's fine. I can also take a break on Mondays. I don't need to write those days. So letting myself take the breaks when I know I need them and when I recognize that my brain is just fully incapable of doing this, that's also very, very good and very needed. And I'm not beating myself up over it, which I was doing previously with lost days, or failure days as I used to call them. It is day 17 today. It is March 27th. And I think I'm going to be done this challenge tomorrow. Why? Because what I wrote today was the like culmination of a really big, of, as I said, the climactic moment, kind of bringing us down into the story. And the next bit, I know in my head, I have 2 scenes more that I want to write. I think I can polish that off tomorrow. I'm going to try write earlier than I'm usually doing, because I also really just want to be done with this challenge as well, because this weekend coming up is the long weekend, and I kind of just want to leave my computer at home and not worry about it, and not worry about having to get my words in when I'm at the cabin, you know? I'm going to try finish it tomorrow. I think I can. Because I know how I write now, and I know my focus. So hopefully tomorrow, which is a Thursday, I know I have a long day at work tomorrow, because I'm going to have to get all this magazine content to design and get that ready. And then after that, I'm going to do a little bit of audiobook stuff, because today I finally got my life together and fixed my recording spot and put it in my storage room. So now I actually have a better recording spot that sounds better, and I need to re-record like 11 chapters and stuff like that. Like, it's been a whole thing, friends. Then that's something that I'll discuss in a different video, don't you worry. But I think tomorrow the plan is work whenever that's done, and then a little bit of audiobook stuff for the evening. I'm gonna go to the library because I have some library books that I need to pick up. I'm gonna edit this video because I would also like to have this video up Friday. I'm also losing my voice because I've been talking so much today. And I would like to finish Aramount Book 3, Draft 1 tomorrow. It's only 2 more scenes. It's only 2 more scenes, which could be anywhere from another 3,000 words to another 6,000, 7,000. I don't know, because my brain just likes to write. But I have unlocked the Super Jenna writing speed. I have unlocked the magic of this draft, whether that is the combination of the focus, the hosier loop, and just the getting the words down at the perfect prime times for my productivity. But I've done it. I've unlocked something. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Let's heckin' do this. Let's heckin' do this. I'm done. I got myself my heating pad because my shoulder is out. I got a celebratory bowl of ice cream. Fucking did it, y'all. I fucking did it. I don't even know how many words I said this was when I started. It's 41,000 something. It's Thursday, March 28th. We did it in 28 days. So we started at 41,000 something and we are now at 93,080 words and we're done. We are done this draft. I am elated. Oh, man. The universe decided today to make my shoulder grow out, and it just slowly has gotten worse and worse over the evening. Now I have a heating pad on it, and I'm not moving. Is where I'm staying forever. But I did it. I fucking did it. I started writing at 9:40, and it is 11:27 right now, but I stopped a few minutes ago. So it was like an hour and a half. Roughly wrote 3,700 words and finished the draft. Is it a trash fire? Abso-fucking-lutely. And I don't care. It's done. I can now make this story better because I have the bones of it. I have some of the meat and I know what I need to do to make it better. And that's what matters because that is what a second draft is for. Second draft is for me to make this better. Oh, I'm so elated that I'm done. Oh, I can breathe. I can breathe easy knowing that it's done. And now I have a long weekend ahead of me. I'm going up to the lake. I'm bringing 3 books with me. Am I thinking about this story? Am I looking at this story? Absolutely not. I'm going to let this sit and then I will come back to it sometime in April and start draft 2. Because I'm excited to start editing this. I am so excited to start making this story better and making it something that actually is a good story and beefing up some of the storylines, reorganizing things and everything. And from where I'm at now, there's a lot that I need to add into the story. So this book is going to definitely be chunky. It's going to be over 100,000 words. I can tell you that right now. And a little luck, I told you before, it was like in the 80,000 word mark. So I am going to try and be stingy and better with my editing this go around once I actually start getting to like the actual word edits and stuff to try keep it around the 100K mark and not like go outrageously over, because I think there is a limit for how long cozy fantasy books should be, and that's just because I don't want to ramble on forever and people will be bored. You know, I still want to make a good book, still keep the cozy at the heart of it, but yet make it interesting the whole way through, because I think A Second Story and A Little Luck are exactly the length they need to be. So we'll see what this one ends up being, but as of right now, it is the longest first draft of an Arrow Mountain book at 93,080 words. I feel good. I feel wonderful. There's so many things that I've discovered during this draft. There's so many things that I've discovered not only about the story and what I want to do moving forward, or elements that I've added to the story just on a whim, but also about myself and my writing practices and what I can do to like really focus myself in on stuff. I'm so happy with this, and I'm really glad that I did this writing challenge. So I think from here on out, even though the last time I did a crazy writing challenge like this, I told myself and I told you guys to never let me do something like this again. I think achieving the entirety of a book in a month is too much work. Start to end, from scratch, the entirety of a draft, for me, sometimes is too much. I've done it before. I've done it with Project Dream. I've done it with A Second Story. I've done it, but has it been good for my mental health? In those 2 instances, it's been fine, but trying it again and again with certain projects has not been good. So I think doing things like this, where I have 41,000 words of a draft written and I just need to focus in and do something like this, do a challenge where I need to set a date and just make it happen, I think I can do those kind of things. It's not an entire draft. It is simply finishing a draft. You know what I mean? So I think from here going forward, you will see more challenges on this channel because, of course, that's just something I do.
you'll see more of this. And I think as I start diving back into a more high fantasy realm with my worlds and kind of getting away from the cozy fantasy worlds with the next couple books, because after this book, we're going into Sage's story, and Sage's story is a more traditionally fantasy story. So with those, it's going to be interesting to see how the writing goes and how quickly I can get the drafts done. I'm very intrigued to start working on those as well, because I want to start doing the series plotting and stuff like that. So now that I'm done with this one, with this draft, I'm letting it sit until like mid-April. I might, if I get the inkling, do a little bit of work on Sage's story, but I'm not going to force myself into anything creative until I pick this one back up again. That's just because I really want to work on Sage's story. I really want to start working on that one. I really want to start like fleshing those stories out and really getting into the meat of it. And I think I'm just excited to work about them. But anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me as I do this writing challenge. This time we set out to finish a 100,000 word draft in about 20 days from when I started on March 11th and aiming to be done by March 31st. I ended up with a 93,000 word draft, and it is March 28th. So we did it. We finished the draft, which was the goal, not the word count. The goal was to finish the draft, which I'm so happy I did. We did it in 18 days instead of 20. Which I'm very happy about, because now I can enjoy my long weekend without having to worry about getting my words in. Anyways, my beautiful friends, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.